tabayat. Helen was the van. The tabayat was somebody completely different. The problem is today, because of the conflation of the heroine and the van. That's just sad. For instance, you know, I was arguing with somebody and they said, what nonsense! There's a song, dreadful song, Sarkaido Khatiya Pujara. And they told me you're being a prude and you're saying this, that, and that. Look at Karishma. They'll say that I've got something against the Kapoor sisters. But Karishma, she's enjoying herself as much as Govinda. It's not as if Govinda is pushing her into a situation. And so it's a celebration because she's on top as well. And I said, when I look at the picturization, I don't agree with that at all. I think there's confusion there. And there will come a time when we are going to be able to sort that confusion because sensuality, sexuality, all of that, courtship, everything is important. But courtship cannot become the dreadful term Eve teasing. That word should be removed because there's no such thing as Eve teasing. It's harassment. You know, we have to just remove that word and take away its acceptability from the social circle.
She was also asking about homosexuality in film. Do you think that would ever become acceptable?
I think so, because even in society, if you look, there is far more acceptability since fire. Fire was about 12, 13 years ago, and at that time it seemed like a really taboo thing, but today it's far more acceptable. And in a way, if you look at Karan Johar's films and the kind of jokes that they do, they are struggling to make it visible without it becoming a very big problem. So I do see a time when that will be acceptable.
Hello, I'm Martha Schmidt. I'm also a student at SOAS. I wanted to ask you about the idea of giving back as being sort of a natural role for a filmmaker or a star in Bollywood. Because there's sort of, there's certain people who obviously like you have for years and years being socially active. Also that has been criticized severely sometimes as only a publicity. But it's not sort of like a culture amongst actors that now I'm going to give back to the society. Do you think that this will change in the future anytime near?
In fact, I feel that amongst our younger generation it is much more than it was earlier. Because they have people who are really modeling and shaping their public persona, and in that part of giving is part of that persona. So if you look at all the younger people today, they are lending their names to some issue or the other. And even though it might be a token gesture to begin with, I think it starts with a token gesture and then something sparks off somewhere and you get involved. So in fact, I find in today's generation that there is a commitment towards it. Maybe on the surface level, but there is certainly, and that will at some point create a spark where the issue will become deeper and closer to their lives.
Sorry.
Hello, my name is Amy, I'm not from SOAS. Until recently I used to work for the UK's only Muslim lifestyle magazine. And I want to just follow up on the question that was asked earlier. Is there any limitation to what can be shown in film or used in film under the guise of social change?
But that's what the Board of Film Certification does. You don't see everything that you can. It's the Board of Film Certification is a statutory body and it is ruled by the Cinematograph Act, and very clearly it states that certain things cannot be shown. But now, I mean, they come up with really knee-jerk reactions. For instance, now there can be no slap ever shown on the screen if a girl is being slapped. So you can rape her, you can do what you want, you can't show her being slapped. That is the only reaction that they have. Soon it will come to a point where you say, we shouldn't show women at all, because that's a problem. So I don't think they're blind and mind terribly to it. But that is the body that decides what can be seen and what. I have a basic problem with that. But at the moment, that is the system that we have.
Hi, I'm a final year student, PhD student myself. My question really is more on the culture of political satire in the film industry. For instance, here you have serials like Thick or Thin, which are, it's full of self-replicating, self-effacing humor. It goes to the heart of the political system.
We have
Without
no
humor.
sense of humor.
There has been nothing.
ऐसा कुछ नहीं हो सकता, एकदम सब लोग खड़े हो जाएंगे because that's how we are as a society. We are unable to laugh at each other. जाने भी दो यारो, जाने भी दो यारो.
Do you see any, you work with a lot of young directors, sorry, can I just interject here? You work with a lot of young directors, you're familiar with their work. Is there any sort of political satire coming out of the scripts that you're going through right now? Because India's...
There was one that I was making which I thought would be जाने भी दो यारो. It got stopped before it was complete.
What is it? Is it a kind of self-censorship?
No, it's pure terror. It's pure terror that your film will be stopped and you will not be able to recover your money. It's just pure terror.
Not true. You tried, you have to try it. Okay, but
There's a question for that.
To take you back to the question on the objective.
Question, if you really do have something small to do before we finish. Yeah.
Yes. I'm Shashank from SOS, and my question is, with regard to age of actors, what kinds of roles are available to women today?
You know, it's very interesting because at this stage of my life, I am getting the most interesting characters that I've played in a long time. Because suddenly, earlier, I mean, like about 15 years ago, it was inconceivable that after 30 you could get any role of any substance whatsoever. But now you can see that the space is opening up. So even though the films might not center around an older person, but for instance, the role that I had in Matru Kuduski Kamandola was a very delicious one. And suddenly something has happened to me personally, where all along I've played these very strong, good women, and now all of them are wicked and delicious. Something about my face, I think, will be attracting filmmakers, but I'm enjoying playing them. It's delicious.
Can I ask, can we have a show of hands? Can film be used as an instrument for social change? Who believes it can?
Woo! You need to come to the Bombay Film Industry.
Well, before we wrap up and thank Shabana for this evening, Sanam is going to come and say a few words. Welcome to Sanam.
Hi everyone, my name is Honorary. I'm here on behalf of an organization called the International Indian Students Union. As the name suggests, we work for Indian students here. We are the representative body of all Indian students throughout the UK, both homegrown and those who come from India and elsewhere in the world. Firstly, thank you very much to SOAS and to Professor Boy for letting us be here today. Thank you very much. And of course to Mrs. Azmi for blessing us with your presence here. Now the reason I'm here today is very simply to award our very first honorary fellowships to the two legends, Mr. Akhter and Mrs. Azmi. Can I please have a round of applause? Now the NISU Honorary Fellowships are basically the highest honor that the union can bestow on any individual. And they are awarded to individuals whose contributions are significant and long-lasting to either India in any format, Indian culture, or particularly the services of Indian students in the UK or elsewhere. Now, I am delighted on behalf of the Akhter Institute to be able to present these to two people whose names are synonymous almost with Indian cinema now. And as the world celebrates the centenary of Indian cinema, they wouldn't have been a time more appropriate to award them with these, fellowships. So I'd like to call upon the stage my colleagues to felicitate Mrs. Azmi. Mr. Akhter, of course, is not here today. One of the most successful actresses, both critically and commercially, that India has ever produced. Renowned Indian filmmaker. He once referred to Mrs. Azmi as India's finest dramatic actress, and he couldn't have been more apt when he said that. The queen of parallel cinema, she's so unconventional, and her success truly epitomizes the independence of women and that of femininity. So one more round of applause. Most distinguishably, perhaps, she is the one person who has used her position within the Indian film industry to undertake a range of charity and humanitarian work and projects, whether it's her work towards HIV and AIDS in India, her advocacy towards religious communalism, whether it's her work with Vikrant Welfare Society, as well as her public outcry towards the gang rape that recently, unfortunately, happened in India. This legend is just, we're just delighted to associate things with it. I'd just like to have Mr.
But you know, I have to thank all of you. Because you're the first group of young people whom I've met who haven't asked me more questions about Farhan Akhtar
Shabana ji, congratulations on the honour for both of you. What does this such kind?
Well, firstly, it is significant because, like you said, because it comes from the National Students' Union, and we know how difficult it is to please students, sometimes even more difficult than to please critics and peers, and that it comes from them and it's their first fellowship that they're awarding. I'm very, very pleased and very thankful.
Hello, Shabana ji. I have asked this question from a few celebrities this year. I'd like to know your views. Recently, the gang rape that happened, ever since everybody seems to be, talking about it and doing something around those lines, whether it's films or charities, some change that needs to be brought about.
What we really need is a mindset change, because we suffer from a patriarchal mindset which privileges the boy over the girl, and that is the root of all problems. And when we're talking about mindset change, it is really a long process. So we have to work towards that long process, but through all the various works that we do, it has become imperative in the wake of the traumatic gang rape of December 16th in Delhi, that all of us, all segments of society, instead of just positing blame on the other, on the police, on the politician, on the failure of law and order and all of that of course. But apart from that, what we are really struggling with is a mindset change. And so as responsible citizens, whatever we can do within our own segments of society to see that we should hasten the process of bringing on that mindset change is what we are looking at. And I'm very happy to say that that process has also started in the Hindi film industry.
By the way. I welcome you to England, London. I'm from TV Open. Shabana, obviously you may have been speaking about 100 years of Indian cinema. I'm noticing, I'm from Lahore myself, so I'm noticing people are saying it's 100 years of Bollywood, which I do not agree with. Firstly, I'd like to have your take on this. What do you want to share with us, say about 100 years of Indian cinema? And do you agree it's equally Pakistan's 100 years as well as India, because it was together, they were together, and there was a little industry in Lahore as well, and Calcutta at that time. Anything else you wanted to share with us?
Yeah, I also have a problem with the term Bollywood, because it really started as an in-house joke, but the word unfortunately has just made its way into the dictionary almost, and so what is known as the Bollywood film is really the more song and drama, the more song and dance kind of, with a lot of music, etc. made, and so I'm very happy to call it a joint celebration.
Sure. Just to add a little note, as you said, Bollywood made its way. I'll tell you, there'll be another term in 10 years, Lollywood. Wait for that. You probably already know about that.
That's right.
So I'll give my husband to. Thank you.
So we have our
First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
And it's a great honour to have you here as well. I would like to ask you, within the 100 years of Indian cinema that we've had, what was your favourite era for yourself personally?
Slightly selfish of me, but I would say the 80s, because my most significant work came because I was given very, very good roles in the 80s, and I think the strong Indian woman struggling against injustice emerged in cinema in that period. And so that, I would say, is my personal favorite. Also, although I also look upon the period when Gurudutt and Mehboob and all these people were there. That's another favorite of mine.
Good evening, Shabana ji. How does it feel being facilitated in London by SOAS and by people like Sunam? Do you have a message?
Because I do think that cinema is a way of reaching out to the largest number of people.
Right.
And when your work gets recognized in this way, and particularly by students who one knows are very hard to please, one feels happy. And I do hope that try to come to terms with what exactly is our identity as Hindi cinema people. I think this is the best time to understand what it is. And in this confusion, I think that I feel a sense of loss that the lyric, which is such an important part of the Hindi film industry, is sort of disappearing. And as the more modern contemporary films are being made, they're being used, the lip sync is almost disappearing. And it's being used as background as it is in Western films. Whereas I think singing songs is our strong point, and that's what differentiates us from the rest of the cinema. And it is important that we get in touch with that again and bring the lyric back and bring lip syncing back, because that is what is our USP and makes us uniquely different from other movies.
Thank you very much.
If it's in television or cinema, obviously it's cinema. And recently we've spotted you in a very nice film. I really liked it. I love Vishal's work. Are you working more? Are there
Well,
more
next
films?
month I'll have The Reluctant Fundamentalist by Meera Nair. So it's Mohsin Hamid's thing, and I play the mother in that. It's a tiny part, but it's an important part, and I'm looking forward to that.
More Bollywood?
Some. Yeah. We, Nivara Haq, the organization that I work with and head for the last 30 years. Nivara is Nivara and Haq is HAKK. We have built homes for free for 50,000 people who were displaced from the national park in Borivali, and we have rehoused them in what is the single largest resettlement project in all of Asia. So I'm very proud of the work that we've done there. I also work in an organization called Mijwan, which is MIJWAN, which was an NGO founded by my father that works with chicken curry workers, and also runs schools and computer centers. Our girls are learning. It's a really, really tiny village. Mijwan was a village that didn't even have a postal code. Today, Naomi Campbell is wearing Mijwa's clothes, courtesy Manish Malhotra, because Manish Malhotra has now patronized the girls at Mijwan. They're learning English through Skype. So it is really what again is happening over there is that there is a mindset change. Like I say always, what is the most difficult to achieve is a mindset change. And what heartens me greatly is these girls in the surrounding villages used to all be married by the age, and the teachers have taken a vow that if there's any pressure put on any student to get married before 18, the whole school will go out and do a demonstration and a dharna outside it. To me, that's huge, much bigger than any number of buildings that I can put up and any number of projects that I can do. There is a way that mindset change can occur when we start privileging girls and giving them equal opportunities, because in a patriarchal society, boys are privileged over girls, which leads to discrimination for the girl child, where she is denied equal opportunity to education, to health, to nutrition, to decision making. and that disadvantages her greatly. So what we need to do is to be able to provide equal opportunity for the girl child, which is what Mijma is striving to do.
Sorry to go back to the Delhi rape case, but it's coming up for 3 months. Has her death been in vain? Because we heard of another violence against a woman, a video going around. So, you know, has anything changed in the 3 months? Does it look as if it will change?
We are struggling against society all over the world giving their tacit approval of violence against women, not only in India but everywhere else in the world. So what we're struggling up and against is a huge thing. I would say that change has occurred. One, because of the public action that followed in the wake of the gang rape was something that we hadn't seen in a long time in India. The fact that it was, led by the youth, that there were lots of boys along with the girls was a first. The fact that Nirbhaya was quoted as saying, "I want to live," was a huge change. That girls were saying, shift the blame, shift the shame. They were saying that our lives are not going to be ruined by that man's, the person who's perpetrated the crime, his life should change, which is a completely different way of looking at it. And so that's why I find hope. Obviously, change is not going to occur overnight, but what we have to continue to put pressure on the government is to make sure that ordinance, which has really short-shrifted the Justice Verma Committee entered at the earliest, that we have to keep the pressure on the government.
And in this centenary year of Bollywood, how can Bollywood help bring about that change? Can Bollywood do something?
Well, if the Hindi film industry sets its mind to it, and if it is led by leading ladies of the Hindi cinema, and they decide that they ask for change, then it will occur.
Lavina.
What is your next film?
Well, there are certain films that I haven't signed on yet. I'm in the process of reading scripts and sort of looking at the work, but there's nothing that I've signed off the moment. But there are certain projects in the pipeline, both here and in India. Both theatre and movies.
Hi Shabana, my name is Priya. I myself have been writing and speaking a lot about women's rights issues in India, especially after the Delhi gang rape. And the point that concerns me the most is the makeup of our political fraternity in India. So 31%, that is 1,148 of our politicians are charged with criminal offences, including rape and murder. Over the last 5 years, more than 30 people charged with rape have stood for elections in India. JP Korean is presiding over the Rajya.
And that is the challenge that has to be faced, and you have to push your way through that. What we have to really push for is to tell political parties that they should not put up as candidates for elections people who have rape charges against them. I mean, that is the least that we should demand of them.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm from Aaj Tak and Headlines today. I'll take the liberty of asking something else as well. Well, you're going to vote. You're invited to vote in Access. I was also invited to vote. We have had this issue of Mr. Narendra Modi being invited and now not been asked not to come. Would you have any opinion on that?
I would like to ask if Javed and I had been invited and then the invitation had been withdrawn, would Mr. Narendra Modi have cared about that? That's my answer.
And some people are wanting to withdraw because his invitation has been withdrawn.
That's their prerogative.
That's it for
I'll
questions.
just say something. If we can have one message for all Indian students in this country and just the wider youth in this country, and as to how specifically we can help in some way to bring about change.
I believe in the power of youth. I believe that all over the world, it is the youth that have been harbingers of change. If you look at Tiananmen Square, if you look at Tahrir Square, if you look at Vietnam, or even 1942 Quit India movement, it was all led by the youth. And it is very important that they get engaged with the political process and do not distance themselves by saying that we are so busy doing our work and following our careers that we don't need to be socially engaged. You need to be socially engaged. You need to recognize your own strength, and you need to be in the forefront of the movement that is asking for change. And the way you can do it is by coming together, because you're a large number of people, and I think there's great strength in numbers. It's only in numbers really that real change can happen.
Thank you.
Yes.
One final question. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Sarah Swani. I'm from the Queen Mary University of London, and we actually
You have your democratic right to express dissent, and you should use that in a way that is persistent. See, it's very important, because people, the powers that be, believe that after a while everybody will get tired because they'll have to go back to their own work and live their own lives. And that's what happened in this movement. For a long time, the government thought that, after a while the steam will be out and you won't have many protesters. But it was because it was persistent and for such long hours that the government had to buckle down, so to speak, and put the Justice Verma Committee into place. So whatever democratic means that you have to express dissent, you should use it. If it means going and demonstrating in front of the High Commission, why not?
will you come with us?
If I was here, I would most certainly come.
Thank you.
That's it. Are we okay to do some pictures?
Yeah, sure. It would be a bit strange because I would demonstrate and then after that go and eat dinner with them.